On this episode, I'm honoured to be joined by a current England international Champions League winner and a man who captained Liverpool to their first league title in 30 years, the one and only Jordan Henderson. Jordan, thanks for chatting to us, mate.
No worries.
What was life like growing up for Jordan Henderson in Sunderland? Was you a football mad kid?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Football mad. Football mad city, really, very passionate, similar to Liverpool in that sense. Just loved football, went to work during the week and just wanted to go and support the team on a weekend, and that was what it was for me. Just I always had a ball at my feet, always playing football, and that's all I ever wanted to do, yeah.
So Sunderland were your boyhood club. You went in there at 8 years of age. You worked all the way up to the first team. I think Roy Keane was a manager. Did he sign you as a youth team player? Was there any incidents with Roy? Because I know he can be a bit volatile, can't he?
One or two, probably.
Yeah.
He probably give it a kick up the backside once or twice. But it was good for me, it was someone who I looked up to massively as a player anyway. Massive respect for him, but I think a lot of us were scared of him, especially the young lads coming through. But no, he was brilliant for me and gave us my debut, for Sunderland, and was the first person really to probably see something in us that other people hadn't, and give us me chance.
Did you make your first team debut against Chelsea?
The Premier League, at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, 5-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 3-0 down at half time.
Come on.
And then Roy said, "Get ready, you're on," at half time, and then we ended up losing 5.
Who was in the midfield that day for Chelsea?
To be fair, I come on right wing.
Did you?
Yeah, so I think I was against Ashley Cole.
Yeah, well, that's a good one, isn't it?
So I had my work cut out a little bit, but I was just buzzing to be, make my debut against these world-class players on the pitch, just everywhere. And to be playing against Ashley Cole and things was huge for me, and in a funny way, give us a bit of confidence to know that I can, get there and maybe, get there and play regularly.
I made my league debut against Man United in '99, the team that won the treble, and it's just it's almost as if sink or swim in it. You might as well go in against the best. And if you can handle it, and it gives you a bit of confidence. We went on and got beat 4. I think it was 4-1. I think Frank scored for us, and it's an amazing day as a youngster, and especially for your boyhood club.
Oh, huge, huge. It was a really special day.
Yeah.
Like I say, you're disappointed with the result and everything, but to get your debut against such a good team, and you're thrown in at the deep end really. Yeah. So it was a big moment for us as a kid, and then from then on, I feel as though it helped us go forward. Yeah. Did you always know you was going to end up central? Because didn't you sign for Liverpool? You've been playing a lot on the right. I did play a lot more on the right. It's definitely in my early days. Yeah. But I always knew that I wanted to play more central, especially when Steve Bruce was manager. He plays more central at times, and I enjoyed that. And that's where I felt at home, really, and really could sort of impact games more. And then Liverpool comes calling. What was that like when you got the phone call saying Liverpool put a bid in for you? Was it a no-brainer? Yeah, there was a couple of options that were floating about, but nothing set in stone in terms of bid. Right. Liverpool was the first one to make the bid, and then that gives me confidence straight away that the Liverpool won us, obviously. The players that were there at the time, Kenny was manager, and who I spoke to and had a big influence. So huge club, amazing players still playing there, and that was a good opportunity for me to go and learn and improve and try and be better and learn from the best players there. You know what, because obviously I was there at the time. It was very different stages of career. You was a young man coming in. With hindsight, really, that was the sort of the beginning of the end for me in my career. But I remember what struck me about you, we was training at Melwood. Young lad, you was full of energy, full of enthusiasm. And Charlie done something you didn't like on the pitch. He didn't give you the ball, and you absolutely went for him. And I thought, well, that's some character there. And I think that's something that you needed at the start of your Liverpool career. It was a difficult time for the club. Your first few years weren't like they are now. You were digging in, weren't you? Yeah, no, definitely. Really, the first few years were really tough. Coming to a big club like Liverpool, moving away, and you don't realise how big Liverpool football club is until you actually are in it. And the expectation level. And in my first year, I still played quite a lot of games, actually. Yeah. I was playing a lot, but probably wasn't performing to the level that I felt I could and what people expected. So it was tough and it was challenging, definitely in the first year or two at the club. But you know, I would never take that period away. I needed that really. It made us stronger. It made us who I am now. You know, to get through that, to go through that stage, it was tough. But when you do come through it, you're a lot stronger for it. So I would never take that away.
Wasn't there a moment at that time, I think you've been documenting as saying that was it when Brendan come into the club and he wasn't sure whether you wanted you to stay, and you must have thought to yourself, that's a bold decision you've made. You said, no, I backed yourself, I'm going to stay here and become a player at Liverpool.
Yeah, it wasn't really a tough decision for me, but it hurt us hearing from the new manager when Brendan come in that, you know, it was a possibility that the club would do and wanted to do because they wanted to bring Dempsey in at the time.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really difficult for me because I didn't want to go. You know, I'd only been there a year. You know, I'd sacrificed a lot and give everything to get to Liverpool. So I still had 4 years left on my contract, and I felt as though I had a lot more to give. So it was an easy no from me. But to be fair to Brendan, from that point he was really good with us and helped us tactically and helped us develop my game in a different way that I'd probably never had before.
And you're now playing alongside another great at the game, Steven Gerrard. How important was Stevie?
I think he knew that I looked up to him as a player, as a young player who didn't. You know, Gerrard was incredible. So I'd sort of watch him and try and learn how he was, like on the training pitch, around like in the gym and stuff, things like that. I'd definitely be learning from him all the time, and he would say one or two things to us that would sort of give us a bit of encouragement, you know. And in the end, I felt Stevie was another one who stuck by us when things probably wasn't going too well. I felt as though he still had the confidence in us as a person and as a player, and that gave me a massive boost as well.
It's important that when, you know, the people that are standing next to you when it ain't going well. What was that moment like when you first got given the captain's armband at Liverpool? That must have been a proud moment for you.
Yeah, again, it was an amazing moment. I think it helped us before that I was vice captain for Stevie. Brendan made us vice captain in the year before, which helped us because when Stevie wasn't playing or if he was injured or whatever, then I'd be captain, and that would help us sort of just get into it a little bit. But then obviously when I was given the captaincy full time, it was a big thing. You know, I tried not to make it a big thing, but I knew from the outside it was a big thing.
Massive honour.
And I knew people, at the beginning I'd probably say I felt a little bit, not embarrassed a little bit because it was Stevie. And I knew how people would then perceive me to be like, try and compare us with him. So I knew it was not going to be perceived well at the beginning, but I still felt as though I had leadership qualities to lead the team in a different way to what Stevie did. And just try to be, you know, give everything and be there for the lads. I'm quite close to the lads anyway, and I didn't want to change that. So I felt as though I could try and help them, you know, be better and improve and create an environment that was a together environment and a successful one going forward. And I feel as though I could add real value in that, and that's what I dove into.
So the Brendan Rodgers, that era comes to an end, and you got inches away from winning your first Premier League, didn't you? Because we all thought you from the outside, this was the year for Liverpool. Yeah,
it was looking that way right until to the last couple of games. You know, it was an incredible season. I don't think anybody expected us that year to do what we did. But everything seemed to sort of be lining up. You know, even for Stevie, you know, winning his first Premier, just everything seemed right in that time. And then unfortunately, come crashing down pretty quickly against Chelsea and then Palace. So it was a tough end to an incredible season. But I still loved every second of that season, and I look back, it was an amazing season, you know, to be involved in. Every time I stepped foot on the pitch, I felt so confident and like had the Coutinho, Sterling, Suarez, Stevie, you know, around. You know, it was just like you just felt so confident going out and playing games. It was an incredible feeling. So I loved every minute of that season, and unfortunately, yes, it didn't end the way we wanted to, but it was definitely a season I look back on and think I have good memories of.
So that takes us on nicely to Jurgen Klopp coming in. What was your first impressions as he came through the door?
I was excited for him coming in just because I'd watched Dortmund quite a lot. and I loved Dortmund. Loved the way they played, you know, the energy, and they didn't really have maybe superstars yet in that team. I think he made them superstars in the end, but you know, I was looking at like Gundogan and Royce and players like that, and just the way they played, it was incredible. I can remember going to the Bernabeu and watching them play in the Champions League semi-final, which they ended up winning or drawing and getting through to the final and beating Madrid, and they were just incredible. I can remember. So then when I hear that he's coming, I'm excited because I know what type of football, and I feel as though that suited the way that I played. You know, the energy, the high press, the really intense football sort of. I loved all that. So I was excited in one part. The other part of us was disappointed because I was injured. So I couldn't get straight into it. You know, I had an injury in my foot that I didn't know how long I was going to be out for. So that was quite difficult, you know, a transition of new manager coming in, club captain, but not fit and not being able to play games, and actually I don't know when I'm going to be fit. So that was a pretty tough time, going through that. And I just tried to learn as much as possible around and hearing and watching things and watching training now and again when I could. So that when I came back into training and playing games, I was ready and sort of had an understanding of what he wanted. You know, the fans at this club mean everything. You know, the fans are a huge part of the football club. So it was amazing to get over the line and end up having it, but also it was hard not being able to sort of share it with them.
Well, you arguably put together one of the most exciting Premier League teams I've ever seen, and it all culminated with a Premier League title win. But we need to put some context on that season, because that was the year with COVID. You were going great guns, weren't you? And then the league stopped. The world was going crazy, but you must have been thinking, no.
It was difficult because, like you say, we've been waiting for so long, and football is a huge part of our life, and that's all we were looking to do, and we're so close to being able to get over the line for the Premier League title, and then it stops. But then there was a part of us I felt a little bit guilty for feeling like that, because you know there's much bigger things in the world going on. You know, people are dying. You know, it was a huge thing, and you know, it was like something off a movie. There was no one on the street. You had to stay in the house, so everything was shut. It was just like, it was crazy, really, when you think about it. So I felt a little bit guilty for thinking, like, well, what about like Liverpool and what, you know? I couldn't, even though we're thinking that. You know, it was hard because you were sort of fighting, going, well, hang on a second, because there's a lot more important things than football going on here. So, you know, when you put things into perspective and you're seeing things on the telly and what was going on, it wasn't that difficult really to think, actually, you know, it's not life and death what we're doing. But of course, when things started getting better, then we wanted to hopefully be able to finish what would started that season, definitely.
It's normal to think like that. You're a competitor, you're in that environment, but you've really stepped up during the pandemic. It's Jordan Henderson at MBE now. The work you've done for the charity, bringing the captains together. What compelled you to do that, Jordan? Because you really stepped up.
Yeah, I think, you know, it was a tough period for everyone in football, and I think a lot of people look up to footballers. You know, football's massive in England, and a lot of people look up to us as role models. And I knew a few players wanted to do things anyway that I'd spoke to, but didn't quite know what to do. And so we had some conversations. Spoke to the captains on Zoom call and stuff, and to be fair, they were all incredible, you know, really, really brilliant, and all thought, definitely should do something together. And from that point, then, we dove into that and tried to get everything set up. It was pretty intense and tough, you know. I just had another baby as well at the time. I had a little boy, so Mrs. wasn't too happy when I was on the phone for 6 hours a day. But
mate, during the pandemic, 6 hours on the phone was a joy without the kids in the house, trust me.
So I was upstairs, locked away for 6 hours on the phone trying to sort things out. But all the captains, my teammates at Liverpool were amazing in that situation. I know people will see it, like, look at me as that, but really I could never have done it without all of them people and captains across the league, and even women's football and leaders within women as well were brilliant. So yeah, it was just a really nice thing to do, and something that I think we're all very proud of in the end of what we did.
No, and rightly so. You should be proud of it. And talk about being proud to win the title back. It just looked like an incredible part, an incredible relief for the city, because the Premier League was the one they wanted to get their hands on, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So long, with 30 years, wasn't it? So we were waiting so long. It was amazing to get over the line and end up having it, but also it was hard not being able to sort of share it with them.
Yeah,
you know, because the fans, you know, the fans at this club mean everything.
Yeah.
You know, the fans are a huge part of the football club. So to do that and not being able to share with them was pretty tough, you know. But I think we were both, you know, people were celebrating at home, we were celebrating at home because we're in our bubble and stuff. So we certainly celebrated. I'm sure it was just unfortunate that it had to happen when we couldn't be together.
I'm sure they wouldn't change it for a title.
No, they definitely wouldn't.
That was so important for them. Yeah. Jordan, Champions League. This club's built on its Champions League success, and you're playing against another English club. I was on the wrong end of that result in 2008. So, how did it feel?
We went up early, which was strange, really, in the final, I suppose.
Such a big game.
I think once we did that, we sort of reacted a little bit, like sort of dropped off a little bit deeper than what we normally do. We weren't counter pressing and pressing higher up the pitch. So it wasn't what we wanted to do. It wasn't our game plan. But actually, in the end, I felt as though we were defending in a lower block and we're pretty comfortable. Yeah. You know, we didn't really give them too many chances. We managed the game really well. I always felt that on the break we could probably score a second with the forwards that we had. So in the game, I can remember feeling like, we had to defend and we had to move and shot, but actually we were quite comfortable in that block. And then the end, you know, we'll get a goal with Divock with a great finish. And everything since I was a kid, you know, dreamed of playing in the Champions League final. Everything that I've been through in my career, everything you sacrifice and do and sort of go through to get to that point, to then win it was an incredible moment, really, and one that I'll never forget, and probably took us weeks to get over fully, you know, and get my head around things. I was just a shell after the game. You know, you'd think, you know, Champions League final, you'd be partying all night and be great, but I was gone.
Emotionally drained,
just emotionally, physically, everything just gone. Just because I think it was the build-up of everything. So,
losing the final was it the previous year or 2 years before?
Previous year,
Right, yes.
Yeah.
And having all of that pressure, and I can't leave you without talking about England and the Euros. How was that tournament for you? Did it go by and like it did for us, in the second, or was it?
No, it was definitely an amazing experience. It was incredible, really, especially with it being a bit of a home tournament. You know, the games at Wembley and the build-up around it and stuff was really special. For me personally, it was a little bit more difficult because I was going into the tournament off the back of an injury. And I wasn't right, really. Looking back, I kept telling myself I was at the time. But looking back, I wasn't for 100%, and I needed to get further stuff done after the Euros. But I was adamant I wanted to go, and I knew it would be a big Euros. I knew I had a good opportunity, so I wanted to go. And I still feel as though I played my part in certain games, you know, coming on, and I ended up scoring. I ended up getting a goal and stuff, and coming on in other games, Denmark being one, when we managed to win that game. So. No, it was definitely a really brilliant experience, and I feel as though it sort of made the country fall back in love with the England team again.
When you talk about last season's heroics, I mean, you was on for a just unprecedented quadruple. You won 2 major trophies. How was that for you last season?
Yeah, the consistency levels were through the roof, really, you know, throughout the season, and to go so close in all 4 was incredible. I don't think there's another team that's done it, and that just shows how hard it is to be able to get that close. You know, obviously the Premier League, we knew it was going to be difficult, but we give it everything. I think we went on a really good run from January and made some ground back. But in the end, probably just wasn't enough with City pipping us, and then obviously the Champions League final didn't go our way as well. So that just shows how quickly quickly football can change. You can't get too carried away when things are going well. At the same time, you can't get too low when they're not. So I try to keep an even balance. 2 went our way. You know, we won both of them on penalties, and the other 2 didn't, and that's just the way it goes, you know.
Have you had any feelings and thoughts on the Champions League final?
It was a strange one. Right from the beginning, you know, how the game got delayed, you know, all the issues with the fans. And I just felt the whole atmosphere was strange for a Champions League final. You know, I'd been involved in 2 before, and it was like electric, and it was. Whereas this one, it wasn't like that, you know. So it was strange from the beginning. And then in the game, actually, you know, I think probably didn't perform to the levels that we're capable of for sure, but certainly done enough to win the game for me. Creating the chances that were created, didn't give them too much away, to be honest. You know, it was a strange game. Courtois making 5, 6
Courtois was unbelievable.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
You know, so on another day, you know, you probably score 3 or 4 goals and you come away with a win, but we weren't 100% at it. And if you're not 100% at it, then, you know, you leave yourself open to lose.
Back to the Premier League as well. Man City just seem to have that something on you. Is that what drives you on, Jordan, still? Yeah,
I think we've pushed each other. You know, us and City have pushed each other for a number of years. But you've got to give them credit. They're a fantastic side with a world-class manager. It's always going to be tough, but we've given it our best every single season. You know, kept pushing, and we'll just continue to do that. But of course, you know, when you lose finals, you don't quite get over the line. It does give you that desire and motivation to make sure you go and put it right the next season. And we'll definitely feel that going into this one.
Quick 5 questions, Jordan. Favourite goal you scored?
Stamford Bridge away, actually. Yeah.
Decent finish.
That's probably the best one. Long range. Against Courtois. Who's, not a bad keeper. So that I'd go Chelsea away.
You do tend to score belters, What one moment of your career, I think I know the answer to this, would you go back and relive if you could?
Champions League final.
Without doubt. If you could play alongside anyone in your career, who would it be? Past or present? Kevin Phillips as a Sunderland man?
He was the local hero at the time, to be fair. I'll go with Gaza. You know, North East as well. I suppose, but the wrong side, I suppose. But no, I'd go Gaza. Just, he just what a player, you know, and had everything. So I'd go with him.
If you had to bet your life on someone to score a penalty, who would take it?
Millie.
Yeah, the main man, definitely. He'd look after you. Listen, you've been brilliant, mate. Thank you for talking to us.
Cheers, Joe.
And I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
BT Sport Pods.